All right, we're back with another Daily Stew. We're the Right Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I'm Brian Wright, still.
Here we are doing it. So big news last night, Brian. It comes out Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million. That's a lot of money. But let's just dive into it. So it makes the Mets better. It makes the National League a much more of a gauntlet. I think National League was already the better league anyway. What are your thoughts on this contract, Juan Soto? What does this do for the Mets?
So obviously you saw him go to the Yankees, and he made that lineup that much more legitimate, right? With Aaron Judge, Stanton, the whole shebang. They were a much better team. But you also saw when he was at the Padres, he made it better. He did some good things, but it wasn't like he was a game changer. So, first of all, I don't know how you pay anybody this much money for this long a period of time and do anything other than hope that it works out. Maybe there's some marketing on the backside. I don't even understand how financially it comes close to making sense. I'm not I don't want a cap on spending for MLB, but man, it seems like, what are we doing here? I mean, is he that marketable, Paul? Do you feel like he's that marketable of a player to where you can, like Ohtani, you can argue that, hey, we got
He's
whole
things.
nother market.
He's pitching, Ohtani is Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens all in one. Yeah, obviously he didn't pitch last year because he was hurt.
What he's going through.
Actually read, there's a blog called The Red Machine, which focuses on Cincinnati Reds players. And interestingly enough, Joey Votto was a very, very similar player to Juan Soto for the first 7 years of his career. A little older, right? Soto came up at 19 years old.
Right.
But nobody is saying Joey Votto is a generational talent, that sort of thing. And numbers are pretty close, right? So I think it makes the Mets a better team for sure, right? Add a bat like that, add somebody who gets on base like that, then you have people behind them knocking them in. But again, the contract, 15 years. We saw these contracts with Albert Pujols and Josh Hamilton and Chris Davis to a lighter extent. I think that's probably the worst contract in baseball. But these longer, the Alex Rodriguez, these longer contracts. And we've talked about this a lot, but now that steroids are out of the game, you don't see those guys having those really, really good years at 35, 36. And this would be his year 40 till he's 42 years old. So it doesn't make financial sense. But again, what are the Mets trying to do? In this 15 years, what is considered success? Is it winning one World Series? Is that successful? Or is it multiple World Series?
I think if you put this kind of length on a contract, it's got to be multiple. I think it's got to make sense in a lot of ways, and clearly they understand it better than I do. Obviously, Cohen has made a lot of money. No expense is too much to make the Mets better. Clearly, but I would imagine, again, from a money standpoint, the Mets making money as an organization, this has to have a pretty big impact. And then from a winning standpoint, I just don't know. I mean, Ohtani in the short term has worked out. You mentioned some other ones that maybe has worked out. Mike Trout, kinda, I would say, but he's been hurt. Mookie Betts, kinda, you would say, but it's still pretty early. Aaron Judge, kinda, maybe, it's still early. But when he struggled, people were all over him when he was going through, and then he struggled in the World Series a little bit. People were all over him.
Yeah, they're crushing him. Here's the thing, too. With the New York Mets that I really appreciate, they're going for it, right?
Absolutely.
They're investing the money. They have the money. They're investing the money. There's a lot of teams that have the money that aren't making those investments. Even some of the mid-market or smaller market teams, they have the ability to spend that kind of money, and they're not doing it. The Mets are all in. David Stearns, the new GM, he was kind of the architect of the Milwaukee Brewers. So for David Stearns, he's still doing all the same things he was doing with the Brewers, utilizing his farm system. And we saw a couple of those guys last year have an impact in the playoffs, got them to the LCS. But now
you got money to keep them and to bring
you got some cash. So
you got cash.
And I remember when we talked,
We all need more cash.
we told a story about CC Sabathia earlier in the year, and I remember talking to some of the Brewers people that were still around when I was there, and they said, "Hey, CC came, and we went all in. Like
Yeah.
we were mortgaging our homes personally to get CC to stay in Milwaukee, and they put together their best contract offer they thought they could, and then the Yankees came and blew them out of the water. They had legitimately no shot from a financial perspective. Yeah, if CC wanted to stay because of relationships, or whatever, that would be one thing. But from a money, so I appreciate what the Mets are doing. As a Mets fan, you got to feel good about that. They're going all in. David Stern's clearly doing some right things. But again, we talked about the Mets going through the LCS. They were one pitch away from the Brewers shutting them down and moving on. Right, Devin Williams gave up that home run to David Wright, and sorry, not David Wright. Devin Williams gave up that home run to Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso. I was like, dang, what year are we talking? I know your memory's better than mine.
Yeah. I was just reading about bad contracts, and David Wright was on that list too. So
he got hurt. He's back at you. Oh, hey, all the rights. Apparently, obviously, no relationship, but
yeah. So those injuries,
and
that's the consideration too for the length of this contract is once you get into those when Soto's turning mid-30s. You can't turn back time, right? Father time catches us all at some point, and especially in professional athletics.
Hey, and maybe inflation is a part of this, right? I mean, if you really looked at the numbers, and we have
what's 725 in New York City? Who 765?
Well, I was going to say whatever. Have we broken down whatever it is a year?
Like 51, 52 per year. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that really that much, or is that really going to be that much at the end of this contract? That's kind of an interesting thought too, that it's not necessarily, it's a lot of money. $50 million a year is a lot of money now, but you think about
what's it going to be in 15 years? Yeah.
If it continues at the pace of this.
So are we going to have a macroeconomics question? Do we need
no. I've got no answers on that, but I'm saying that those guys probably do.
Yeah.
Right? And they probably looked at it and said, "Hey,
clearly they're much smarter than us. They're doing bigger and better things." But so big news. So we'll see how that shakes out with the rest of the free agent market and how that sets the standard for moving forward. Because there's going to be some players come up who are, I say, just as good or at that level, and they'll have to get paid as well. So I think we're not too far off from having the first $1 billion player. It's got to be coming soon.
It's going to happen.
Maybe it's one of the kids we coach on our travel team, Brian. Maybe our young men will go out there and make us $1 billion. And
it's so crazy. I saw all the memes about all the parents like, "Hey, I'm getting my kid up at 4:00. If kids are making $750 million, I'm gonna get my kid up at 4:00, 7 days a week for the next 5 years and see what I can turn him into."
Let's just see what happens.
Yeah,
let's see what happens.
Incredible.
So, all right, so I've got a New York Mets story for you.
All right, let's hear it.
1986, the Mets were they were the team, right? Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Lenny Dykstra. They were the fun team. I was in third grade in 1986, for reference. My third grade teacher was a old Irish lady, really sweet. Miss Kelly, loved her. She was sweet, but she put a thing up on the board like who's voting for the Red Sox and who's voting for the Mets. And there was a handful of Red Sox, but overwhelmingly the Mets were the fun young team. And they ended up winning the World Series. I don't know if you've ever gone back and watched that 1986 Game 6, the Billy Buckner game. During the pandemic, we were watching a bunch of old games, and I made my son watch that one with me.
I definitely have seen it. I've definitely seen it.
Yeah. It was so went back and watched it to see how close the Red Sox were to winning that World Series, like literally a pitch away and out away, and just.
I only put Buckner in there because they wanted him to be on the field for when they won it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he was in the game.
So fast forward, the Mets win the World Series. Cabbage Patch Kids are all the rage about this time, right? People are still murdering each other in stores for them. So we go to the store, and Cabbage Patch released this line of, I guess they had an affiliation with Major League Baseball. So it's Cabbage Patch Kids with uniforms on. So we're in the Kmart. So my mom and I, we're in Kmart, and we see these dolls. And you know what, Mom? I want this New York Mets Cabbage Patch. And my mom's like, all right. So I grab one, and it's a little black one, a little African American Cabbage Patch doll. And so we go to the Kmart, we check out, and I get home, and I grab all my New York Mets baseball cards, and I shuffle them out. I said, all right, I put all the black guys in one pile and all the white guys in one pile. And whatever, so what my plan is, I'm going to close my eyes, shuffle all the cards up with the black guys, and whoever I pull out, that's going to be the name of my Cabbage Patch Kid. So honestly, I was hoping for Dwight or Daryl.
Right. Of course. Of course.
So I pull up Mookie Wilson.
Not a bad one.
So Mookie Wilson. So I named my Cabbage Patch Kid Mookie. So I've had him all this time.
You still got him with you?
There's Mookie. So Mookie now has a Cub shirt on. I have no idea where the Mets uniform is. Mookie has been with me since 1987. Oh, nice. I became a Cubs fan because they were on WGN and we got him this shirt. But here's the Mookster, man. But legitimately, my kids have seen it. They know Mookie. I called my wife this morning because I couldn't find him. I said, "Did you throw Mookie away?" She's like, "I would never throw Mookie away." And so here he is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Mook.
Hey, I got one thing.
You got a Met story for us?
I don't have a Met story. I have a Cabbage Patch story.
You got a Cabbage Patch Kid?
Yeah, so I had one, and mine's not as good as yours. I don't still have it now. I think I kept it though for a long time. And mine was Fred.
Fred, okay.
And, dude, I held on to him. I promise you for like 25. It was kind of weird though, right? Boys, sports boys, buying dolls. What a marketing that was, right? I mean, it was incredible. But yeah, I had one.
Yeah,
I was six. You know,
I was 8 or 9. Yeah. It was baseball. I would play little baseball games with him. My brother had an Orioles one. We would like pitch ping pong balls and hit stuff. And right. So last thing I want to talk about today. I have a dog. I was at the vet today. I'll throw a picture of me and Champ at the vet.
All right.
I'm not. I say that I'm indifferent to Champ. My family loves him. I'm here. I'm whatever with him. Didn't really want him from the get-go. Yeah, whatever. So either way, I draw the short straw. I've got to take the dog to the vet today. As I pull up, there's this guy. So there's an area where dogs can go to the bathroom before you go in. There's this guy holding, you know, those trays you get like of nachos at the ballparks, like the plastic trays with the
perfect
nachos. He's holding a tray, but he's holding it underneath the dog's butt as the dog is taking a dump. And I'm watching.
Maybe they needed like a fecal.
Well, so I guess
or didn't have a bag.
I don't know. The dog's taking. He's got the tray under as the dog's literally dropping it in there. I don't think I could ever bring myself to do that. But then he does it. He's got the nacho tray of poop, and one of the people from the text from the place come out, and they're I don't know if he ate like a wedding ring or if they're I don't know.
Maybe testing for some type of disease.
Maybe
the things you do for your animals, dude. I mean, I walk my animals around, and I mean, I'm in a neighborhood. I have to pick it up. I don't feel good about it, right? I don't know. Like my brother's like, I would never do what you do to have animals. Like he lives on a much bigger piece of property. He doesn't have to pick up the poo. But yeah, I do. I pick it up daily, right? I walk my dog down the street as it poops and looks at me and thinks about whatever wants me, whatever it thinks about.
Does it make eye contact with you as it poops?
Yeah. And I've been told.
Is that a special bond between you?
It is. It really likes me to walk her. Number one, really likes me to walk her. But I think it's because that's like, hey, I'm trusting you to look out for me while I'm in this vulnerable state.
Oh, in case like a fox comes after
something or a bigger coyote,
a bigger dog,
a bigger dog comes after it. So it's like it's making sure that you are aware because it's in a vulnerable state. And so then,
but so you're the leader of the pack still.
At least with my dog. I can say with my dog, yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff. So, all right, so Juan Soto, congratulations to you and your new contract. We asked earlier in the week if you want to sponsor a trip, Juan, to New York City. We'd be happy to accept that offer from you.
We'll follow you around. We won't.
We'll document.
Poop in New York, but we'll document something.
Yeah, but. So thank you all for subscribing, following, liking us. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you go in there. I'll have a picture of Mookie on Instagram today. I'll have a picture of me and Champ at the vet today if you want to take a look at that. And then be sure to follow us on Apple Pods, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're on all of those. So thank you guys, and we'll be back with some longer form content in the next couple of days.
Go Pack. Out.